Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. What's good? What's good? We're back at it again. Yes, indeed. What's going on? What's going on? This is Reparations Month, and we're at part number 9 of the Real Reparations Movement. All right, so we're going to get right into it, man. You're rocking with the best Thoughts of the Week podcast. Let's get it. You're rocking with the best Thoughts of the Week podcast. Yes, indeed. That's right. That's right. We back at it again. This is part number 9 of the Real Reparations Movement. Of course, this is kind of like a response in a way to the National Reparations Convention, and everybody who had comments put their comments in the comment section when I did my analysis pre-National Reparations Convention, and then I did it after the National Reparations Convention, and then on the news channel where we reported how there was another reparations convention, I'll use that word, that was in Brooklyn, New York, and it was called the Road to Reparations. All right. And there may be other footage out there regarding that, but there was one video clip where this guy was just doing something that had nothing to do with reparations, man. It was crazy. So we're going to show you what the Real Reparations Movement looks like and sounds like, and get right into it, man, with part number 9. So let's get into it.
Coming to the stage, our next guest. This is a brother you all know and love. He's a mainstay in our Hidden Color series films. This is a master teacher who I love and respect so much from New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for brother Kaba. Kaba now!
Didn't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off.
Now, family, first may I say thank you for your time. As you mature, one of the things you come to realize, the most valuable thing you have is time. And everything that we're doing right now, in our time, is for a future time. It's for our children. And the theme I'd like to talk about is, where do we want to see our children in the year November 5th, 2122? What do we want them to have in 100 years? Everything. Everything. It's important that we understand this, family, to help us understand what we have done to make this possible. There are reparations all around the world. In Africa, they have a 10-point plan in Africa for the colonialism of what they've experienced. In the Caribbean, in CARICOM, they have a 10-point plan as to what happened to them in the Caribbean. For those of us who understand what happened when Africa was carved up in 1885 at the Berlin Conference, we understand what happened. England, and France, and Germany, and other countries of Europe carved up Africa and stole all of their resources and colonized them. In the Caribbean, they built up Europe. And here in the United States of America, Africans stolen from Africa built up this country. That's right. The hands that built the pyramids built the White House. I'm talking history. It's important for us to understand They're not giving us anything. We are just claiming what has been ours from the beginning. Not to mention the fact that the original indigenous people were black.
Say it again.
The folk that we know of today, with due respect, they are the fifth migration
That's right.
of humans that came to this part of the world.
That's right.
We were the first. The short-stature Twa and Mbuti people came here.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And they people this land. They are derogatorily called pygmies. But they are the original family of our world. They introduced the entire concept of ma'at, justice and peace. They came here. And then came a second wave, who is called the Clovis Folsom. They were black.
All right now.
And then the third, the Algonquin. They were also black. Then came the Inuit, derogatorily called Eskimo. And then came who we call the Asian invaders. And they came in such large numbers, escaping Genghis Khan,
Yes.
that they then took over the gene pool of this country.
Yes, they did.
So what was once black became red. This is history, family. There's evidence. See, I'm not into truth. I'm not really into truth because truth can change. Because yesterday could have been a very cold day, and that's the truth. And it's a fact. But today, the sunshine, we in t-shirts. That's the truth, and that's a fact. So it's the evidence that you have to go by. Because it's the science, the knowledge, the wisdom of who we are as a people that will help us understand. When we're dealing with these issues, there are certain issues that are not to be argued. I'm not arguing whether or not we deserve reparations. We deserve reparations, and we're going to get it by any means necessary. And while we're talking about any means necessary, let's talk about security. You can have the world in your hands, but if you cannot secure it, if you cannot protect it, you don't have it. You're just holding it until someone stronger than you come along and take it. You got to protect what you have. You have to secure what you have. So even if they give you reparations, you got to be able to protect it. You got to be able to secure it.
That's right.
And we have that possibility. Because what we have to understand, family, looking at this from a global perspective, they stole Africans and brought them here. Now, reparations. And when they brought us here, they enslaved us and made us work against our will. We built this country. We built the machines. We could not, because we were enslaved, we could not claim it, we could not have a patent on it, but we created them. And they got credit for it. Because who better to create the machines that's going to help what you do than the people that are working? That's the evidence. You in the big house and I'm down in the field. Who's going to build the machines? It's the people in the field.
That's right.
And that's what we did.
The inventors. We are.
And down south, what was going on at the time is that the South was getting big money on the raw materials. And the North was having problems because they were the industry. That's where the actual factories, most of the factories were made, where the South had the raw materials. And pretty soon the South said, well, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this relationship, this 13 colony thing. And so they created what's called the Mason-Dixon line. And in creating the Mason-Dixon line, what they did was say, well, that's the North and we're the South. And the North began to put pressure on them because something happened, family. It's called capitalism. Capitalism is fueled by competition. And if you could buy a human for $300, or you would pay somebody 30 years, $300 a year, which would you choose if you are profit motivated? You would pick buying somebody for $300 one time. And so the North said, but you got to stop enslaving people. They said, why are we going to do that? They said, because we got to work together. And the South said, well, who need to work with you? I'm going to break away. The North said, you can't do that. The South said, why not? Because then that would break up the Union. Abraham Lincoln said it. He said, if I could keep Africans enslaved and preserve the Union, I would. That's evidence. He said it. And so the South said, but we're going to keep enslaving people. But you see, what happened is that they had to stop the enslavement of the transatlantic enslavement. Now, I know they tell you that they felt sorry, that they wanted to repair the damage. That's not why they did it. They did it because they gave so many guns to African people in Africa who were on their side, unfortunately. But we got some people on their side right now, so we shouldn't be surprised. We have to face the truth now. And what began to happen is that Africans began to fight the Europeans, and they could not enslave the way they used to. So they had to stop the enslavement process because they were losing money. And so what they decided to do was to now, they would breed the Africans in the United States, and that's how they were able to build up their enslavement, the Africans that were here, by breeding them and creating breeding farms. There's evidence and there are books on this. And then the South said, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to free our Africans. The North said you have to. So in the year check this out, family. In the year 1854, a man by the name of George L. W. Bickley, don't believe a word I say. Google this. George L. W. Bickley in Cincinnati, Ohio, decided that he was going to create an organization. And the people that were part of the organization were called the Knights of the Golden Circle. And what they decided to do was, from the Mason-Dixon line, they were going to go down into Mexico. They were going to go to Nicaragua. They were going to go to Cuba. They were going to make Havana, Cuba, the capital of the Golden Circle, where they were going to enslave Africans, keep enslavement going, and cut themselves off from the North. And the North said, you can't do that. And the South said, yes, we can. And not only that, I'm tired of talking to you. We're going to do it. And that is why the Civil War happened. They weren't freeing African people. They were preserving capitalism and the Union. Is evidence. And they were going to create a new United States. But it was going to include the southern part of the United States, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And Havana, Cuba was going to become its capital. But listen to this. Check out the movie National Treasure, Book of Secrets. They'll tell you about it. It's of course fiction, but it still tells you about the Golden Knights. If you're into comic books, get Atomic Robo. Edition number 28, it deals with the Golden Knights. They were involved in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. They were directly involved with the assassinations. Reparations is what we are going to get for all the work that our ancestors did. And when we get that reparations, we're going to do it in the name of our children who are yet to be born, because they are the best. And they come from the best. And only the best of the best could have survived. You are the best of the best. Our children are the best of the best of the best. And we're going to get that reparations. And if not now, then when? And if not us, then who? It's going to be now, and it's going to be us. And this is a continuation. So as I leave the stage, I pay homage to our sister, Queen Mother Moore, who years ago talked about reparations. In Harlem, I heard her. I pay homage to Cobra, the organization formed in 1989 to fight for reparations. No more games. It's time, family. Reparations now. Can I hear you say that? Reparations when? Now. Who? Now. Hotep.
Give it up for Dr. Kaba.
All right, there you go. There you go. I'm gonna say this. He mentioned at the very end in Cobra, and me personally, I don't think in Cobra is having the Black Americans' best interest at heart or in their mind. So they might have something in the beginning. They might have been on having the right mindset or the right track maybe years ago in the beginning, whenever they formed and got started. But as time goes on, they have went off into another path. So the rest of the stuff he said was pretty good. All right. He broke down the slavery issues with the North and the South and kind of tied that into, how that fits in with the reparations. All right. Giving you the evidence that, this was going on, and how a lot of people say, oh, Lincoln freed the slaves. It wasn't that Lincoln was all about, it wasn't like he wanted to do that out the kindness of his heart. It was a strategic move, which a lot of schools are going to teach you something different. And you're going to have other races of people telling you something different. They're going to throw in your face, but no, Lincoln freed the slaves. But they don't never tell you, or nobody ever questions them in more detail. Why did he free them? For what reason? What was the circumstances behind him freeing the slaves? Nobody does that part of it. When people say something to you, you don't give off those questions, right? And then if you happen to do that, let's say you heard this and next time somebody tells you that and you go off and start asking them questions, start watching how they can't give you the details of it. They'll just start wanting to brush you off, don't want to talk to you, don't want to hear it. After you question them on that, then all of a sudden, all bets are off now. They just want to throw out, say this, what they want to say, and then want to brush you off, don't want to hear the rest of it, don't want to follow it up, back it up when you ask them questions, right? So there you have it there, man. So we're going to keep it going, all right? We're going to keep it going with part number 10. We're coming pretty close to the end. Not close there, not there yet, but we're going to come there real soon, all right? So with that being said, hope you took note. There's more information to come. And like I said, it's always going to get better. So you're rocking with the best Thoughts of the Week podcast. Let's get it. We out. Peace. You're rocking with the best Thoughts of the Week podcast.